Good afternoon. How are you doing? Oh, come on. Did you not have the cookies? You should be awake. Well, this is going to be a very interesting panel. I have an amazing set of people around me. I don't know if you remember, but when you were in IIT, or at least when I was in IIT, I used to be very scared of the director because the director threatened to kick me out of the IIT every so often. And here I am sitting with 7 directors, including the director of my own alma mater, IIT Kharagpur. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have go around and have everybody say their name and where they are director of, and that's about it. And soon after that, we'll start our panel. So the panel is going to have no talks. It's going to be all Q&A. I'll start with a couple of questions. You, in the meantime, think about what questions you want to ask. And in 40 minutes, we'll do 20 minutes of questions from the stage and 20 from the people, from the public. OK, so let me start with Sudhir. Go, sir.
Sudhir Jain, IIT Gandhinagar.
Deepak Phatak, I am not director. I am representing Devang Thakkar. I am a teacher at IIT Bombay.
Uday Desai, director, IIT Hyderabad.
Partha Chakrabarti, IIT Kharagpur.
Timothy Gonsalves, IIT Mandi in Himachal.
Pradipta Banerjee, IIT Roorkee. Indranil Manna, IIT Kanpur.
OK, so with that said, let me first pose the question, and this is to all of you, and I want everybody to think about. So I want you to think about one innovation that you have done during the course of your directorship that you think is going to have a very big impact on your IIT. So let's start on the other side. Indranil, what do you have to say?
Well, I don't want to really claim credit for something which has already been done. I'm there only for a reasonably short period. I would like to just mention that one of the things where IIT Kanpur really wants to make a difference is in the area of flexible electronics. We have just set up a national center on flexible electronics, the first of its kind in India, and it's totally funded by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. It will create capacity for building sensors, solar harvesting devices, and very many other applications. We'll also concentrate on training manpower for the country for this new technology.
Pradipta?
Yeah, I think we're just, in terms of IIT Roorkee, we're going back to its roots. And one of the exciting things is having our faculty members and our students look at how to address societal problems. This also helps give not only a good education to our students, but also make them good citizens.
Timothy?
Yeah, at IIT Mandi, one of the things that we decided right from the beginning is that we want to encourage interdisciplinary academics so that we can make an impact on society. So to this end, we decided not to have departments. We mix faculty of different disciplines together in adjacent offices. We allow anyone to teach any course, anyone to guide any student. So I think this is something quite significant. We have people of different disciplines working together on projects, on research, which I expect will have some unusual results coming out.
BBC?
Yeah, so in IIT Kharagpur, we decided to free the students from the JEE trap of getting into the department that you got into JEE. Which means that you know, because of your rank, you get somewhere into JEE. But in order to free the students from that, you know, we have introduced concepts of micro-specializations, completely changed the semesters so that there is mobility, they can go elsewhere, including another IIT or another institution, and come back. And therefore, their complete experience, including international experience, is going to be different, which, you know, we learned from what these IITians have become like you. So we really want to now, you know, we're a big elephant, so we really want to make it very, very flexible for our students to innovate, become whatever they want to be. So we've really changed the curriculum to do that.
Uday?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So on the academic front, I think there are several innovations. I'll talk about one key one, and which, in my opinion, I'm going to boast a little bit. I would say it's pretty revolutionary because not even American universities have done that. We have essentially created an academic program that we have referred to as fractal academics. and I'm presuming everybody is familiar with the word fractal out here. And the whole idea is to atomize courses. Okay, so essentially going away from this so-called 3-credit structures or 4-credit structures, you can have a fractional credit structure, 0.51, and thereby we give a bouquet in the very first semester where besides PCM, students can actually do real engineering. As an example, first semester, first year, students do 3D printing, okay, which perhaps even American universities don't let students do that. Okay, so the idea is to really expose students to technology, latest developments, and future technologies right as soon as they enter the institute.
Deepak?
So in education, we have some flexibility in terms of minors, but we have not gone to the extent that Hyderabad has gone. Research has significantly picked up with several national centers. Of particular importance would be the solar energy activities that are going on, again, undertaking several important national projects. On entrepreneurship front, the Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship continues to retain its first position in the country, and we are trying to expand it further. And on outreach, concerned with the need for enhancing the teaching standards in 4,500 engineering colleges, we run a special teachers training program where we train 10,000 teachers at a time in a rigorous 2-week course. And we are now this semester experimenting with a blended MOOCs approach where 52 institutions in the country are going to give their grades on the selected subjects to their students based both on their MOOCs evaluation and their local assessment.
Sudhir?
We believe that IITs were designed in 50s and 60s, and we need to change the way IITs are run, managed. And one of the areas that I think I can mention, the way we recruit faculty, the way we manage faculty, and the way we hold them accountable, I think we have changed that quite a bit. And that has given us great results. If you look at our website and if you look at the number of PhDs from the top-notch schools in the world, Harvard, Cambridge, Imperial College, Urbana-Champaign, University of Chicago, if you just see the percentage of people that we have been able to recruit from the top-notch schools as a result of these changes has been very, very satisfying. And I think if IITs were to become research universities, they have to recruit and manage the faculty as research universities must do. Because our models were designed based on 50s and 60s model, where we were primarily meant as a teaching universities.
So this is amazing. In my 35 years since graduation, this is the first time I've heard 7 of you put together like really novel ideas that I did not think IITs could ever do. So let me just pose a slightly difficult question. JEE, the whole JEE notion has been abusing families of their wealth and kids, and they're wasting 2 years of their life. Just let's talk about the process of changing JEE and getting rid of JEE. So PPC, I know you're chairing a committee, so what do you think?
So, now what we've done is that the JEE syndrome was based on the fact that there is one ranking.
Right.
And because of this one ranking, you were choosing and you were selecting departments based on one ranking. This year, we solved the problem by saying that even if you have multiple merit lists, you can give a common set of choices and get through it. So now, you can have multiple exams, multiple merit lists, through a common codification. You can actually now, instead of having one exam, you can have multiple exams. You can have different weightages for mechanical engineering than chemistry. And therefore, JEE is going to undergo a transformation while we maintain the quality of the exam completely and control the quality of the exam. We are really now, discussing how to make it more flexible. So it's going to change in a significant way because we have solved a very, very important problem recently.
So any one of you want to support that, disagree with that? Sudhir?
Yeah, I think there is another side of this question. What do you do with these students who come to you after this JEE, where for 2 years, 3 years, they've been mugging physics, chemistry, math, have forgotten about life, have forgotten about what is important in life? And in IIT Gandhinagar, we have solved that problem to a great extent. First 5 weeks, we don't teach any classes. For 5 weeks, we run a foundation program, run from 6:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the night in a boot camp format, where we focus on 5 areas that we think our students must be very good at: physical activity and sports, culture, music, dance, sketching, painting, teamwork, leadership, communication, values and ethics, and societal concerns. These 5 weeks also help the students to adjust to a new life. It helps them to resolve the language issues, the issues that some of them are coming from underprivileged sections, and it enables us to make these students behave like a cohesive team without any boundaries of being a, we have only hardly 15% girl students, and there is a tremendous isolation that the girl students face in undergraduate program. So all of that gets resolved in those 5 weeks.
Hardly 50% is a large number. I remember like 5%.
We have made progress.
Or 1%. But it's good that it's 50%. I'm so proud of you. Uday?
No, I had sort of 2 points. One is at IIT Hyderabad, to get around the JEE kind of thing about getting a branch and all, we have started what we call double major. Perhaps this is very common in many American universities, and a lot of students do that. So in a sense, if you're willing to work hard, irrespective of whatever department you get, you can also get a BTech in another department. But I'd like to add a little twist to what Pradeep was asking. Today IITs are not only JEE oriented. If you look at any IIT today, and including IIT Hyderabad, I'll give the data for Hyderabad, we'll have 1,800 students, out of which there are 500 PhD students, 450 masters, and 900 BTechs. Essentially, 50% or 60% of IIT student population consists of graduate students. So we are moving towards a situation very analogous to some of the leading research universities in US. So along with JEE, we should also keep that, because that is, I'm talking of 60% of IIT students. And this is pretty much true across all IITs.
Yeah, that's true.
So let me ask Timothy, is your IIT the newest one? Is that the newest one or it's not?
Well, it was the newest one until right now.
Until
Now there
the
are
two
two
that
more.
were about to be born, right? But okay, so but as far as I'm concerned, it's the newest one. So let me ask you, so as you look at the next, 10, 15 years, how do you want to position your IIT so that 15 years, 20 years from now, looking back, people would say, this is an IIT that was nowhere 20 years ago, and now it's like the top 3 in the country. So what's your strategy to do that?
Well, our strategy is essentially to focus on a few areas, and to look at areas chosen based on national priorities, national and regional priorities. Because if we work on problems of the Himalayan region of India, we can hope to be the best in the world in that.
Right.
If we work on problems of the West, then we'll always be second best. So this really is our strategy, and we have chosen some areas like, for instance, infrastructure development in the Himalayan regions, then energy, particularly related to the needs of India and so on. And we expect that 15 years from now, we will be among the leaders in the world in at least one of these areas.
That's great. So what about the other 2 relatively new IITs, let's say Gandhinagar and Hyderabad? So let's hear.
I believe that just like every family wants the next generation to do better than the older generation did, just like every father wants the son to do better, I think new IITs have a great responsibility to do better than the older IITs did. And I think we cannot run ourselves the way older IITs were run if we have to do better than them. And we therefore, being small, we being very flexible, we need to innovate, whether it is in terms of governance, whether in terms of curriculum. And that is what I think IIT Gandhinagar would like to be known for, to bring new ideas, experiment with them, and show the success stories, and see if other universities in India would like to adopt some of those.
Uday, you want to comment?
Yeah. See, the way, in fact, I put it is that we have a double responsibility. A, because of the IIT legacy, we need to do whatever IIT does well. At the same time, we need to innovate if we want to kind of, just for the want of the word, I'll use this, that to beat the old IITs. We cannot beat the old IITs if we play the same game that the old IITs have been playing. Okay. So in some sense, we have to do things differently. So we have to innovate, and there are a lot of innovations that are happening both at the research front, okay, as well as at the academic front. And as I said earlier, the focus has to be balanced, both undergraduate and postgraduate. Tomorrow, IITs are going to be known internationally, okay, in time to come as research institutes, are not simply institutes which produce fantastic undergraduates. I know all of us are, bulk of the people sitting here are essentially JEE entrants and who got the undergraduate degree. But the aspiration of the young faculty that comes to IIT today is not simply training JEE undergraduate students, but also doing R&D. Okay. So I think in that sense, that is one. The second thing which I'd like to mention here.
Actually, well, let's finish with
Just
one.
30 seconds.
Okay, quickly.
Is, we need to focus a lot more, 10 seconds, research equipment. When I compare IITs, and I interact a lot with Japan, and US, of course, is far ahead, we are far behind the kind of research infrastructure that exists. I visited the Nano Lab at Stanford. It's just mind-boggling. I visited Nano Lab at Purdue. I'm sure UC San Diego has something similar. See, this is
IIT Bombay.
But I think these are still far ahead. So I think this is what we need to really focus on in time to come.
So we will come to that, but I'm
Sure.
just going to try to pick up on this idea of, Sudhir saying it's like a family. The older generation wants the newer generation to do better. Let me check with the older generation, the more established IITs. Do you really want the newer generation to do better than you did? Let's start with PPC. You want to start? I was going to go to Roorkee, but Roorkee might argue
He's
they're
the
new.
oldest.
So, yeah.
You are the oldest.
Oh, definitely. See, we have mentored, I have been director of new IITs. We really want them to do well. And we at IIT Kharagpur or any of the older IITs are actually moving into a different direction. We are becoming a larger school. We've opened management, law, we've done medical, and we'll also do the humanities and social sciences. So while they build the tech schools, we will go into 2.0 IIT, and we will build up the medical school, so tech-based, a broader university. I think we really want them to become better than us in the sense of what we are now, while we will become something better of the future, but of a different
So you
kind.
want to become a full-service university?
Full-service,
What about
tech-based university.
Kanpur? What do you have to say?
Well, I mean, I personally believe that undergraduate is not really the stage for a lot of innovations. I'm a little conservative in that. What I mean is we want newer or older, all IITs put together should do well. We should pursue one single mantra, and that is excellence. And that cannot come through individual efforts. We need synergy. We need complementing each other. And we certainly should excel in certain areas, and not each one of us should try to do the same thing over and again. So we should identify our strengths and weaknesses and then pursue a goal where we can champion. But as I said, I would just like to make a reference here to the JEE issue. See, life is not a single examination phenomenon, be it JEE or GATE or something. And also, what is more important from the point of view of society is not the input, but the output. We know very well there's no guarantee that the top rankers always will continue to excel. So we actually have to create an ecosystem in the country where one IIT can supplement another, so that as a whole, the country, because our funding comes from the same source, we take students from the same source.
Right.
We serve only one entity, that is the nation. So as a whole, there has to be a complementarity.
Right. So Pradeepta, I know that you can argue that you're the oldest IIT, or you can argue you are a new IIT. You can use the electron model of life, right? Wave or particle. But what is your view on?
Yeah.
Do you want these guys to do better than you?
No, of course. I mean, the point that Sudhir made is very valid. Parents always want their children to do better. Okay, but the children, while they do better at what the parents did, as Partho talked about, I think for us it's to innovate in a different sphere. While they innovate in the research and the education sphere, it's important that as children drive parents to do better. Okay, so the same way I would like to say that it's for us to move into a different sphere. And so here the whole thing is the IITs have always been national institutions. Okay, and we've never really looked at the region that we belong to.
Right.
So I think, therefore, it's for example, we being the oldest technological institution, okay, we want to go back to our roots, what he was talking about. Maybe we can do, because we have excellent faculty, excellent students, go out, do things. It comes back to what I was talking about. Right. We want to do things where we develop society and the nation. And that's what the older IITs should be looking at. We are doing it. We are working together on several national development goals. So I think that's where we want.
So let's talk about the future a little bit, right? So I can give you the example of US. It's pretty well known and understood that research and development, the existence of the great American Research University, economic development, good policy, they all are a virtuous cycle somehow. Or at least we in the US believe so, right? And the counterexample is Europe and Asia, where lack of new companies, lack of innovations have kind of stalled their economies. So India, I think, is on the verge of a new era right now. So let's just talk about what does it take to build a great Indian research university where we talk more than just consulting. When I go to IITs and talk to many of you and your associate directors of research, they talk about how many crores of consulting they have. Let's just talk about what does it take to become a great research university where your PhDs are populating your places and all over the world, right? So who wants to take that? Do you want to start with, let's start with you. You are the oldest. I'll give you the oldest IIT designation for this. Roorkee actually has had a great reputation since, I don't know, 100 years?
See, I think, one aspect, as you said, you talked about the doctoral students going around the world. It's already happening. But I think, you mentioned some of the things that the American universities have been looking at. Not all of them have been successful. And I think it's very important that the IITs need to look at being engines of economic development and growth in the area that they are located in.
Which you have been for the US, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. But the point is, we've been for the US. Now it's time for us to do it for ourselves.
Right, exactly. But what's the strategy? What do you want from the government?
So therefore, for example, let me put it this way. In IIT Roorkee, the government has set up the Center for Himalayan Studies. Okay? So basically looking at what is required in the Himalayan front. And so therefore, a lot of the things that we have proposed and which the government accepted is actually looking at developing innovation at the grassroots level.
Right.
So we have a program where we allow innovators from the villages and the small towns who are funded by us to develop something, so that they can go back and give it. So these are some things these are the models which are currently working, where we have a mentor from IIT Roorkee.
Right.
So I'm saying that these are the things which I think would drive us to be not only, see, we are very well known in America. We want to be very well known in India. And that's how
Right, so let me go to Deepak here. So, Bombay has been, Mumbai has been stripped of, Maharashtra has been stripped of most of its industries. Bombay has become basically a financial capital right now. So you as IIT Bombay, I mean, if you were to follow this notion of you exist for the region, for the nation, and for the world, what do you exist for the region for? I mean, what's your contribution to economic development in Mumbai? If any, you don't have to answer the question.
No, like all IITs, we have also been working. But let me also add one more point. As someone said, we are initially very top-class teaching institution. It's only last 20 years that we are now becoming a top-class research institution. And it will take some time. I will also like to tell you that the number of students whom we used to export from the computer science department used to be full batch. Today, hardly 6 or 7 students out of all 100 students go. And remember that our computer science admissions close at the rank 59. So there is a change that is happening.
Right.
The participation in Indian national projects, both in terms of research and implementation, is way on the upscale. And I think in the coming 10 to 15 years, you will see things working differently. See, one thing is very clear. We cannot continue to do more of the same that we have been doing for the last 50 years. The innovations that are happening, not only in newer IITs, but also in older IITs, are definitely coming together. But I will agree with one point, that our focus is definitely an India focus now. And there are large number of problems of scale, large number of problems of affordability that we need to solve, which we are solving.
So PBC, do you want to comment on?
See, I have a slightly different take on this. I was talking to Arjun a little while ago. You know, what has happened to us is there are so many low-hanging fruits that we don't look at the big picture. We get a lot of benefits from quickly solving low-hanging fruits. Therefore, we have decided that we will solve some fundamental problems for India. That is why all the IITs are now working together. For example, we have built up a complete team of IITs to solve ONGC's problem, not IIT Kharagpur or IIT Bombay or something like that. We need to build a critical mass and identify core problems. That is what we are telling the government, that we will, while we solve low-hanging fruits, you fund us extensively for solving some real hard problems. And we will work together. An individual IIT may not be able to get the critical mass. So we are developing the National Digital Library. We are working for the Pan-IIT ONGC type of work. Another IIT is leading the whole of the engineering design. So we are now going to work on several, 4 or 5 fronts. Maybe one IIT is coordinating, but all of us are working together on harder problems.
This is great. This is great. It's amazing what I'm hearing today. I mean, this is not what I was expecting to hear, but I am so pleased. Sudhir and then Indranil. Sudhir.
I think my colleagues have made some fantastic ideas. Let me add one more thought to what has been discussed already. When we talk about creating research universities, most of the time we are thinking of people, we are thinking of resources. Quite often we miss out the governance and the culture. Quite often we forget that the same young man or woman going to a second-rate American university is far more productive in research than in many of our institutions. And that has something to do with the governance and culture. And I think we need to address that question internally. I don't think government is going to come and solve that problem. We need to, as directors, we need to solve that problem. Just to give a sense of what I'm referring to here, we might be the only country in the world where we hire somebody as a faculty member and confirm him for the rest of his life after 1 year. Right? To me, those are things that came out of civil service rules, and we need to get out of civil service thinking when we are running our IITs.
Right. So before I send to Indra, I'm going to hand it over to the audience. So be ready with your questions. I don't know who's going to bring the questions here to me, but Indra will go for it.
I would like to make a statement here on behalf of the 50-plus years old IITs. There are 3 things I personally believe are common among all these older IITs, and which none of you here within the hall or outside would ever dispute. The quality of education in engineering, the quality of research in engineering technology, and the quality of manpower produced, the alumni, including you all. The quality of these 3 things, nobody would ever dispute. So that is the biggest contribution of IITs. But at the same time, where we haven't really matched up to the best institutions in the rest of the world, including US, is in our ability to translate knowledge into products and technology. The translational research component, for whatever reasons, hasn't been that outstanding. Partha just mentioned about IITs getting together, coming closer, and working together. So we essentially are now planning to solve the nation's problem, be it in pollution or productivity, manufacturing, or even societal issues. I'll quote a particular example, which is called IMPRINT, which is the acronym for Impacting Research, Innovation, and Technology. This is where all the IITs are working together. There are 10 specific technology domains which have been identified, which covers anything from energy to manufacturing to defense to all possible major technological domains, pretty much similar to what you in this country pursue as grand challenges. And only one IIT, IIT Kanpur, is coordinating that, but then there are coordinators from all other IITs and participants from all IITs, all 16 or 18 IITs. Now, this is the kind of model which never existed before. And what is that we expect at the end? What we expect is that the solution will be a complete solution, an end-to-end solution, so that the IITs can take pride and going back to the parliament and the nation and say that you invested in us, and now is the time for us to pay back. And we want to pay back not in parts and pieces, but as a complete technology solution.
Okay, so I have in my hand a list of questions from the audience. Of course, I cannot ask all of them because there's way too many. Some of these are very charged, so if you don't want to answer, that's okay. So let me ask this question, which I think is very interesting. Somebody asks, is there a concern that reservation will impact the merit-based history of IIT? Who wants to take that? Reservation, quotas.
I think, I'll take that up. I mean, see,
HRD minister is on the line too.
no, see, the point is, reservation or affirmative action is not new in the IITs. Okay, so it's been there for 40 years, and I don't think overall it has impacted the product that IITs have developed. Okay, so I think whenever we run up against any issue, it's very easy, as Partha was talking about the low-hanging fruit, that it's very easy to point fingers at certain aspects. I think I myself have not seen significant impact. Of course, when you look at economically backward students, be it from any
Right.
core, you have to help them, you have to hold their hands. And as I said, economically backward does not mean a particular form. It
Right.
could be anybody.
Fair.
You have to hold their hands. So I think in IITs we are aware of our social responsibility, and therefore we do hold hands. So I think that's what I'd like to say.
PPC,
Yeah.
Deepak?
So I actually had the same feeling. That feeling changed the day I graduated. And the day I went to receive my degree and I came back with my degree and showed it to my father, he was an ill person, so he couldn't come to the convocation. He told me something which changed my perspective to this question. He told me, my son, remember that you've got your education almost free. Yes. Who paid for it? I said, taxpayers. He said, no. Even a person, the poorest person who bought a matchbox, that person paid for your education. So please make sure that when you go back, do not belittle anyone who comes for that education. That education has been paid for by the poorest people of India. Remember that.
That is so insightful and so wise. Deepak?
Last year in CS 101, we noticed 50 students who did not have their laptops. Out of those 50, a number of people who were from the so-called reserved categories, there were several others who were not. We provided, Kannan Moudgalya worked on a low-cost laptop and provided them, and they performed as well as any other students. I don't think reservations create any kind of problems. The number of students whom IIT system admits is so small that the people who come even from the reserved categories are good students. They're not Nobel laureate people, but they're all good students, and I think they deserve to get the kind of social sympathy that they need.
So here's another one. Thank you. Can you please comment on how free IITs are from political influence? They mean everybody except HRD. Go for it.
Okay. See, in fact, I would say from an academic standpoint, we are completely free. In fact, IIT is one unique system in the sense, what I can do at IIT Hyderabad, I don't have to at all answer to anybody. It is only my Senate to whom I have to answer. I don't even go to the board as far as academics are concerned. Okay. Similarly, one IIT can have a particular program, a particular course within a discipline. Say, take electrical engineering, Kharagpur can say, we'll have this course. We need not have it. We can have something else. So I think there is absolutely no interference when it comes to academics. We are free. In fact, I would say at times we have a lot more academic freedom than even American universities.
Right. Okay.
Can I take up this question?
Yeah, please.
And I'll refer to my previous chairman, Board of Governors, saying something.
Who was that?
As far as Analjit Singh, who's the Max Group of Industries. See, academic, of course, there is never been any interference. Financial, the autonomy that we have, Analjit Singh said very clearly, if I give you 450 crores of rupees, I would be on your case. The government actually does not ask you many questions. I think that's what we need to understand. Anybody who's giving you large sums of money, if that person asks you a question and you consider that as interference, I think we're kind of almost built it.
Yes, sir, PPC.
See, let me tell you what I face. I get letters from calls, everything from the government all the time. And we do not capitulate. Because my firm belief is that if you start oiling somebody, they will lose respect for you. If you stand up and tell them what is right, you get more respect, and that sustains you.
This is great. Yep, quickly. Yeah, go for it.
In mid-80s, when I was in charge of the JEE data processing, there's an interesting phone call which my chairman received saying that the Minister of State, somebody would like the results to be shown to him before they are published. It happened second time, he refused. On the third day, a call came from the Prime Minister's office saying that a certain request was made. And my chairman said sheepishly as I was sitting next to him, then he said, did you accede to that request? He said, no. He says, here are the directions. If in future any political person makes any such request, he should be bluntly said no, and the matter should be reported to Prime Minister's office. Now, I believe that is an instance where even the highest political authority holds IIT systems in good esteem.
So, Sudhir, let me ask you this. This is a tough one. So, how do you counter Narayan Murthy's comment that no innovation has come from IITs? Hey.
I think the fact that IITs exist today in today's India after 50, 60 years of their existence and maintain their integrity, I think that is the biggest innovation IITs have done in India, right? I mean,
Right.
Can you believe India of 21st century having any tradition other than JEE exam, which has been uncorrupted, in which everybody has 100% confidence? Can you believe that what Professor Phatak said, he got a call or somebody got a call maybe 30 years back? The fact is that for 30 years, we haven't received any calls.
Right.
I have been a director for 6 years in IIT Gandhinagar. I haven't received a single call from either state government or from the federal government asking for any favor for anybody.
Correct.
I have
Do you
not-
have a phone?
I have number of phones. Right now I'm sitting with 2 cell phones in my pocket. I have not received a single call asking for a job for anybody's wife, for anybody's son, or for anybody's cousin.
No, they have learned.
I think
They know
that
how
is
to
the
do it.
integrity, because they know these guys are nuts. They will not listen to you.
Right. So, let's change the topic a little bit. You know, there's a lot. Go ahead, Indranil, and then I'll.
Recently, not recently, maybe a year ago, I read an article in a magazine covering all technological institutions, and they ranked the older IITs put together as globally ranked number 4, only after Stanford, MIT, University of California group, and then IITs, in terms of the number of jobs created, new companies spawn off, and technologies and innovations registered. But there is a but, and that is exactly what Narayan Murthy referred to, and we shouldn't really object to that. Majority of those jobs, companies, happened offshore. Majority here, not majority in India. And as a common citizen, everybody has a right to have an ambition that those many jobs and companies and innovations and technologies be created also in India, and IITs should spearhead that movement. And that's exactly what we should do in the near future. And I think this is a doable thing.
So let me change the topic a little bit. You know, there's a lot of conversation going on in the US right now about a jobless economy or a growing economy that is jobless, as in there's no jobs growth. And there are some indications, as much as we brag about IT, there are some indication, in fact, a lot more than some, that IT is going to be responsible for a lot of growth and for no growth in jobs going into the future. And the future is going to be for the entrepreneur, people who will create their own jobs. So the question to you is, coming from a country with 1.3 billion people, being the leading institutes, universities in the country, what are you doing to make sure that there is no jobless growth in India, which needs far more jobs than the US does? And how are these kids going to be entrepreneurs and create jobs for themselves and others? So, Pradipta?
Yeah, you know, I feel two things. There was again one of the reports which said that a lot of people who are now studying in the IITs are going to be in sectors which have not yet been created. You see, so therefore, what we do in the IITs is provide them, and this is true of all of you, that we provide them with a background to go out and innovate. Come up with new sectors. Let's say 30 years ago, did anybody think of the IT sector? No. Some people got together and thought. So I'm saying that I think is going to be the new India. New India will always.
But what are you doing to create that new India?
That's what I'm saying. See, the whole idea is for us to create people at all levels, doctorate, masters, and undergraduate, create people who have the ability to think independently and then go out and get it. So in other words, we are not going to, IITs are not creating the new India. We are just creating the engines of the growth for new India. That's it.
Timothy?
Yeah. See, one of the changes that we have brought in fact, in many IITs in the undergraduate curriculum is the substantial dose of humanities. And the reason is so that the engineer of the future, the graduates understand society and that they understand the import of problems like this. So I think that is the part of the contribution of producing people who will innovate, be leaders, and who have a good understanding of society.
What I thought was that the people we produced earlier, they used to be taught the subjects, but the entrepreneurial culture they learned in the US.
Right.
We are actually now, in most of the IITs, building in this concept of innovative thinking and entrepreneurial culture so that they just develop it in India while they are in college and then don't go and start learning it in another country and developing it. So I think that will start bringing in some more things. I'm not sure whether it will be the flood or something, but I think it will be a small agent of change.
Right. Wait, Sudhir and then Uday.
See, we decided that IIT Gandhinagar would be known for producing entrepreneurs. We started a compulsory course on design innovation in second year. We created an incubation center before we graduated first student.
Right.
First company of our graduates has received funding from Excel Partners, Helion. Somebody like Raj Jaswal sitting here in the audience somewhere possibly comes and teaches entrepreneurship to IIT Gandhinagar students every year. Arnab Sarkar comes from Los Angeles, teaches. This year, out of 120 undergraduates we have graduated, 9 of them have set up 3 companies. We think that entrepreneurship is something that can be taught in the universities. I think the mindset can be created, and that is what many of us in the IIT system are trying to do.
That's good, and that's my experience where I ran into like 20 students and not one of them wanted to go to US. They all wanted to be entrepreneurs. Uday?
No, I agree. I think what we need to keep in mind, yes, IITs and all IITs are doing this, creating an entrepreneurial culture. Large number of our students are starting, in fact, in the previous panel we were discussing, in spite of the risk, and not necessarily every entrepreneurial venture is going to succeed, but it creates an ecosystem which actually creates jobs. It is not that if you start, it's like, look at way back when Infosys started. So Infosys, of course, employed a large number of people, but because of Infosys, the hotel industry went up, the hospitality industry went up, the transportation industry went up. Even the local vendor, the Thelewala, who used to make maybe, say, 100 rupees, now makes maybe 500 rupees. Okay, so I think one has to look at the job creation in that particular perspective, that every entrepreneurial and successful entrepreneurial venture is not going to create only 10 jobs, even if 10 people are employed, but it will create maybe hundreds of jobs because they need a lot more other services.
So our time's nearly up, but 2 questions, binary answers. The question number 1 is, should IIT be privatized to make it more competitive? Yes or no?
No.
No. No.
No.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Politics.
Wait. Binary, just
No, but we should allow private.
no, just one. Binary.
No, but a lot of private.
No, just
Same thing.
Public-private partnership.
Okay. Last question. In how many years will one of the IITs be ranked in the top 50 in the world?
All 5 IITs put together now itself ranks 60th in the world.
Yes.
Give me the one
A
number.
lot of funding before we can hit the top 50 in the world.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
Actually, in engineering disciplines, IITs are already in the top 50 in the world. And
Okay, I'm glad
I
somebody's
think in 10 years,
This will take another 25 years.
35?
25.
25.
I think I'm more optimistic. Another decade, and I think
10
one
years,
of the
that's
IITs
enough.
will be,
We're done.
I'm saying 15 years.
15.
I'll be happy if it happens in 20 years.
Amazing conversation here with the directors. Please give them a big hand. Thank you.
Thank you.